Awesome. Yeah. Good morning. Also, just in case anyone's viewing from somewhere that where this is really early in the morning for you, first of all, my apologies. We have some limitations on when we can do these. So, secondly, this will be uploaded to our YouTube page. So, if you can find us in ACDSee Photo Studio, and this is going to be presented there as well. So if you miss the workshop or you can only participate for a portion of the workshop, please head there to ACDC Photo Studio on YouTube, and that's where you can rewatch the workshop in case. Second thing, top of the hour. Second thing is that we are actively doing our pre-sale. So I would recommend if you like the features you see today, I would get. I think the pre-sale runs until for another week or so. So definitely consider the pre-sale for 2026 to get the features you're going to see today. Okay. Third order of business, as this is a live demonstration of a product that is, for the most part, I would say pretty much done. But there's always the caveat that there might be a bug that occurs, or something that some form of issue that occurs because this is a product that's still in development and going through QA processes. I just want to give a caveat that that's ongoing. So we'll make sure that people can participate and see this, but I might need to um, if there's an issue, I might need to just flag that this is still an ongoing process. So pre-sales ongoing. Just a quick caveat that just be aware that this is still in development. And then the third thing, and very importantly, is that you can find this video on YouTube as well. So appreciate that. Okay, we have tons of people in here. More people are filtering in. That's awesome. There is a ton to cover today. How I'm going to do this, I'm going to focus mostly on presenting these features. So normally, yes, Tom, yes, you would. Um, Normally, what I do in these workshops is I do more of a live interaction. So I answer questions as they come up. Just based on the sheer amount of things that I have to cover today, I might try to take questions at the end. I will take questions in the Q&A panel. So you can find the Q&A panel, the question and answer panel on your Zoom bar, and just bring that open. It might be in the more section or the options, but just pop that open and I will try to answer any sort of questions that I can at the end of the workshop. But I'm going to focus primarily on just talking about the features and displaying the features to you. So so that's going to be that's how this is going to work. I also will communicate which features will be in which versions of the software because some of these are Pro and Ultimate only, and then some of them are Ultimate only, and then some of them are for all three of the softwares. Today I'll be displaying it on Ultimate because it's our most robust product, so it's easy to just display everything in that product. So. Okie dokie. I think we're going to get started now. Like I said, ton to cover. So, welcome everybody. This is ACDC 2026. I'm going to be doing a full demonstration here. And I think today what we're going to talk about, maybe to start, is we're going to talk about edit mode first. So, we're going to go into edit mode. And we're going to, specifically, we're going to sort of look at the features that pertain to Pro and Ultimate in this case. Okay, so I'm going to hide this guy right now here, and we'll go into more detail on that. Okay, so edit mode features three really broad. Oh, one more caveat I forgot to mention too. This is a really robust demonstration of all the tools in ACDC 2026, but it's not exhaustive. There are still lots more features that I cannot show you today that I would recommend checking out the product pages for a full description of some of those features. Some of the features that I'm not going to be able to show you today are ones that they're more improvements to the software, and so just a note that exists there as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about edit mode first. So I'm going to be showcasing three major features. So one is a tool called Denoise. Denoise is an AI change to the software. And then we're going to be talking about AI hair, and so that also extends to a couple of other functions in the software as well. And then we're going to talk about a new feature called splotch removal. So let's begin with Denoise. And you're seeing our homepage, which we'll talk about in a little bit with the manage mode section here. So I'm going to navigate to my folder here. Oops, what's going on here? There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm going to navigate to a folder here, and we're going to talk about the contents. So denoise is a tool that sort of takes noise reduction and it interprets it on a more it's sort of more content aware than perhaps say using the noise reduction tools that we have at our hand right now. So we're going to be talking about what this looks like, and we'll go into it in a bit more depth. So noise, visual noise is, I'm going to bring this image right here. This is actually just a historical photograph of Neil Armstrong. So I'm going to take this photo, and as you can see in the photo, there is a considerable amount of noise, that grain that you see that appears on the left and of this image and on the top here. And so noise represents this this is typically a photographic error. And what we've done previously, and we've gotten rid of this noise using a tool called noise reduction. And you might be familiar with, in edit mode, noise reduction as a component of, like, say, the adjustment layers, or at the bottom of the detail section here, the noise section here. So we'll display a couple different areas you can interact with the AI Denoise function. And we're going to maybe the best way to approach this too would be to look at the ones first where it's available in Pro, and then we'll talk about it in Ultimate. So first and foremost, Denoise is a tool that you can find as a component of batching. So this is going to be available to you in Pro as well as Ultimate. If I go to batch and I go to denoise here, I can play this denoise action on any number of images that may contain a degree of noise. So I can go through that process and apply it right here. So that's one area that I can find the denoise function. The second area where I can find denoise, or AI denoise, is under the actual noise tool itself. So where we've previously had the noise reduction capabilities. If I navigate to noise here on the left in the filters panel, and this is again for Pro and also for Ultimate, you can see that we have added a section here where it says AI Denoise. And AI Denoise gives me the ability to run this application, or run this effect on my image here. What you're seeing right now is, I suppose, a manual denoise, and this is currently applied to my whole image. And as you can see, this is a manual application, and you can see that there's quite a bit of loss here on the left. And this is something we typically address using these various settings here, and also maybe applying it with the brush tool. But I'm just going to quickly navigate to AI Denoise, and you can see that this is going to actually apply the effect, or run the effect on the image, and this is going to take a moment here. But the strength of AI Denoise is that it's actually content aware. And so it's going to be doing a much better job while maintaining a degree of the detail in our image, while also still being able to apply that noise reduction process. And so to show that again, that's quite a significant improvement, while still getting rid of a lot of that granular noise that you see on the left-hand side of this image. So as a component of the noise reduction tool within the filter panel, that's also where you can find the AI Denoise tool. So thirdly, I guess this is also a tool that we've introduced in Ultimate as well, and we've introduced it in a couple of different locations. Under the AI section here, you can find denoise right here. And so denoise applies this change, and it gives me the ability to change the strength settings as it pertains to this particular AI denoise adjustment. And it also gives me the ability to apply this as a brush, a gradient, or a radial gradient in my image. So if I wanted to take this current strength setting, but I really just wanted to apply it to the left side of my face in my image, or what have you, then I can apply it as a mask in this particular location here. So AI Denoise provides a really, really, really strong noise reduction tool that is going to get around a lot of those sort of manual corrective issues that you may have. Okay, the last location that you can find AI Denoise is within the section here under AI Actions. And the strength of this is that we can take this particular image, much like how we would with a filter. We can take this particular image and say make a copy of it, and I can apply denoise to one of my essentially a duplicated image here, and then I have the ability to run various sort of masking adjustments on this image. So if I wanted to mask my particular image, I would simply run a denoise on a duplication and then mask from here. So AI Denoise provides me the ability to sort of apply a content-aware noise reduction, and it's in a variety of different areas within the product. So just to reiterate, in Pro we have it in the actually in the detail section as well as a bulk edit. Whereas in Ultimate we also have it as its own filter, its own AI action, and we also have the ability to do all of those previous adjustments. This provides a really, really strong tool. So if I actually showcase here, I have a noise test that I can show you as well that really illustrates the power of this tool. So if I was to do a typical denoise on this image here, so if I was to do a manual denoise, so I'll apply a manual noise reduction to this image. So this would be about a standard noise reduction for this image versus a noise reduction that I would apply using the new AI Denoise tool. We'll just run this really quickly. And you can see that the loss in this case between these two images is quite different. So this was our AI Denoise, which a lot of the granular detail, especially the details in the rocks, is preserved, versus this particular denoise, which is the manual denoise and a standard noise reduction process. So this is a extremely strong tool. Again, depending on how much noise is in your image, you might have variable results with this, but it all runs it as one particular operation. So AI Denoise is a tool that you can find in various areas in Pro and Ultimate. Extremely strong functions and sort of gets around a lot of the manual errors of the previous noise reduction tool. Okay, now in edit mode, we're going to talk a little bit about AI hair and hair selection. I'm going to navigate to another folder here. So we'll go into, let's go into this people folder here. And let's go into this image. So we have added a tool that specifically selects hair in images. And we've introduced it as its own tool. We've also introduced it as a tool that you can utilize within the face edit tool, the AI face edit tool, which was introduced in a previous version of ACDSee. It's a very strong tool, and it gets around, or in this case, it specifically allows us to target hair in our subjects, which is, a complicated and oftentimes quite laborious manual selection process. Let's talk about it within the context of, let's see here. Let's go into edit mode here. Within edit mode, and this is available in, let's see here. I want to just make sure that I'm communicating this properly. Within professional, this tool is limited to, I believe, that's right. It is limited to the if I go into edit mode. Yes, that's it. Okay, sorry. Within a professional, this is a selection. So I can select the hair in my subject, and I can do it using the select tab itself. this is going to be slightly different than in Ultimate, where this is applies to also creating masks and that sort of thing. But I just want to highlight that I can use the AI select hair in this, click on it in this case, and in Professional it would do a job of, in this case, selecting the hair, and then from there you can go through and add a filter to this hair, change the exposure, that sort of thing in your image. Whereas in Ultimate, select hair has also been added to the AI actions itself. And so this enables us to, in Ultimate, like we can with Ultimate in general, we can go through the process of, making some sort of adjustment mask to this image that is then adjustable, and something I can edit in the future. So if I look at this hair selection here, I could have gone in and I could, I can go in and I can change the vibrance and color of this particular selection. And as you can see, it's available here. So this is a really strong tool. And this is something that when we're interacting with it, we can, based on the hair selection, we can go in and we can add or remove based on the mask here. So if there was certain parts of the hair that weren't selected, I can go in and I can just manually add those with the brush tool as a component of the mask here that was created. So if there's any aspect of it that isn't fully selected, then this is something that is editable, right? And this is going to have various degrees of success in regards to your subject matter. So here's my subject matter, and as you can see in edit mode, there's a couple sections here that it missed. But for the most part, it captured the whole hair. And then as a result of that, I can make adjustments to it. And in this case, add it as a particular mask. The other thing to consider is that we also have added select hair as a component of the face edit tool. And this is available in Ultimate in this case. I'm just going to see if I can select another subject here to work from. I'm going to navigate to an image that has a couple different subjects. I'll navigate to this image. So within Face Edit, if I open up Face Edit here, we have a section that now creates a hair mask. So this is a filter, and this sort of change is available, like I said, in Ultimate. So this image has two people in it. And as you can see, I now have these two images that appear here. And if I click on them, you can see that they have a corresponding hair mask that is associated with the subject. The same is the case here. And as you can see, if I scroll out, I can highlight those two things, and you can see those masks. If I go back to Face Edit, this gives me the ability to actually change the hair itself. So if I had clicked my first subject here, you can see that subject is scanned based on the face data here. And from here, I can go in and I can actually change the color of my subject's hair. So I have my subject here. I have the ability to change a variety of different functions. In this case, I have temperature, tint, saturation, shadows, midtones, highlights, and sharpness that all can be adjusted based on this selection or this face involved here with its corresponding hair mask. This color wheel enables me to slide it around, and then I can change, in this case, like I said, the color, the saturation, and the degree of light or brightness in that particular hair. So I can make the hair darker, or I could increase the saturation in the hair. The other thing is I have the ability to limit this color wheel actually to more natural colors, or colors that fall within sort of an orange-brown spectrum. And then I can go in and I can increase the saturation, and I can decrease the brightness, or in this case, on my particular subject. So I can limit that to a dark brown in this subject, and then that is interacting with this exact hair mask. So if, again, much like in Ultimate within the layer panel, I can go in and I can actually add more hair to my subject at any point if I just brush it on with the brush tool. Now, if I click on my second subject here, gives me the exact same object, or same options rather, but now I can go in and I can interact with her uniquely versus working with her in this case, or this subject on the left. I can interact with them individually, and I can turn off the limit to natural color, and I can add color, say, to this person's hair. increase the saturation, etc. So this gives me the ability to change hair on multiple subjects within the same image. It also gives me the ability to edit the hair mask, to add and incorporate things, and to change basically the color and brightness of my subject's hair, and also things like sharpness, that sort of thing. So this is a extremely powerful tool. Like it gives me the ability to go in and edit these things, and at any point I can change the function of this. I can go in and I can edit the mask that adds or removes this certain quality. And this might be relevant, say the hair has been selected in my subject, but I also want to incorporate, say, the eyebrows in a part of the selection that correspond to that hair color change that I want. So I could go in and I can use this brush tool, to go in and add, the pardon me, the eyebrows in, so that they get selected as well within the process of um, this selection. There we go. And then when I navigate back to the edit section, those are now changed in addition to the hair itself. So the brush, in addition to the mask within the section, is a very powerful tool to then change these subjects' hair. So AI face edit, just to reiterate, AI hair. So yeah, I can actually select the hair in Pro using the select dropdown. Otherwise, I can use in Ultimate, I can use the select hair function, or I can also use the face edit tool to edit the faces in my image here. Finally, for edit mode, I'm going to showcase one other function that is available in the face edit tool as well, the AI face edit tool. And to do this, I have to bring up somebody with facial imperfections. This will work. I have my subject here. My subject has, a degree of, a bit of redness on her acne. I've discussed extensively the ability to edit or remove acne using frequency separation in Ultimate. However, today we're not going to be looking at removing acne per se. We're going to be looking at actually addressing sort of the redness of this acne using a tool. I'm just going to make sure that this image is restored to its original qualities. There we go. I think that's better. Yeah, there we go. So if you have an image like this where there's a bit of redness in the face, this doesn't necessarily have to be acne related, but it can be related to some other, skin related issue. You can take this into face edit, and notably, this is sort of around the cheek area here. I can take this into face edit. And once again, much like my previous image, the face edit will create a mask that corresponds to my face here. It's going to do this, take a moment to do this. And then once that mask is created, I can see the mask here. There's the AI points. I can go into the skin tool, which is at the very bottom of this. And I can remove something. I can remove this with the Splotch tool. And so what the Splotch tool is going to do is it's going to remove the redness in on the skin and any skin imperfections. And again, this is entirely based on an AI, in this case, a selection of this area. And so it doesn't remove the acne per se, but it does remove the redness or the inflammation around the acne itself. And this is a really simple one selection bar tool. So it's very quick and easy to remove that redness in and around the face here. So that represents the last tool for AI face edit and the last tool for edit mode. And now we're going to be moving over to develop mode, which has different tools. So just to reiterate, the Denoise is available in Pro and Ultimate. AI hair selections are available in Pro. The AI face edit, as well as the splotch removal, that sort of thing, is available in Ultimate. Oh, show A and B? Sure. I'll show A and B really quickly before we go on here. Just a reminder too, just because there's so much to cover, I'm going to try to take questions at the very end. Just there's a ton of content. I have to get through it in about an hour here. So I just want to make sure that everything is covered and you get to see as much of these tools as possible. So there's a before and there's an after with the tool there. The redness removal. Okay. let's navigate to an image, and then we'll bring it into develop mode here. We're going to talk about develop mode. Yeah, we'll go into this image here. So I have an image in develop mode. Now, develop mode has a couple different tools that have been added to it that are really awesome. And everything I'm about to show you is going to be available in both professional and ultimate. So the first one is we've actually added a split view. So split view is kind of an alternative to show original. So show original, much like the previous question asked, when show an A and B, show a before and after. This has been in the software since its inception, but now we also have the function to basically view or do a split view of our image here. So I'm going to make a change to it, and I'll showcase what this looks like. So just on a fundamental basis, if I was to do just something like a white balance adjustment to my overall image, and then let's say I make a mask of my subject, there's a masked subject, and I'll just do a contrast adjustment to my subject. So currently I have two active developments. The first development just being a white balance that reduces the blue in my image and increases the yellow. And then the second adjustment I have here is a mask adjustment. So it's a selection of my subject in my image here. And then all it is a contrast adjustment. So functionally adjusting the levels in this image. If I was to activate split view, which is available just at the bottom here in develop mode, you can see that I now have the ability to very quickly pan and showcase a change of my image. So this would be a before and this would be an after. So I can set that in the center here to view that really quickly. And so this gives me an alternative rather to the show original where I have to hold this button down in order to showcase it. So I can just view a split view at any point just by clicking this and activating this view function. And so this gives me the ability to, quickly pan the changes that I've made to my image. I think this is a really necessary, tool in the software. I think fundamentally, like being able to quickly see any changes, while also being able to hold this, and I can view or keep this split view active, and then keep it on the left side of my image here to actively make more adjustments, and then compare it with my original image. From a view perspective too, just showcasing the just this very visibly showcases what changes have been made to your image and provides you a really quick and easy way to see, if you put it in the center here, to see the variable difference in your image here. Okay. So Peter said nice, but seems to affect background as well as masked area. Yeah, that's because I made a generalized adjustment in addition to the mask. So if I was to remove the generalized adjustment, just apply a mask here. There you go, just to showcase the difference here. So this is just a mask of the subject, not including a background, general background adjustment. Okay, I'm just going to reset my image here. So that's split view. So that's a function that is available in develop mode in both the tune tab and the detail tab. It will not be a function of geometry or repair. So if you're making tune adjustments or detail adjustments, you'll be able to see them using the split view. Okay. Now for perhaps one of my favorite additions to 2026. So this is something we're calling clever masking. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a preset using my subject. And that preset is going to be a selection of my subject in this image, in this case, this woman here. And it's going to be a series of adjustments that we'll make. I recently did a workshop where this tool didn't exist in previous versions of ACDSee. And I guess what I mean by that is previously when we made a selection of a subject and then we made a preset, that preset would apply the mask of the original image to a new image. So this means that you would lose a you would be applying a adjustment that would be specific to a previous selection. Imagine it like this. Imagine you have your subject in your image and they're making a pose. Say they're kneeling. Well, if I was to make a selection previously in ACDSee, when I apply that selection as a preset to another image, that that effect would be applied in the shape of that person kneeling to my new image, even though that my person in my new image is not kneeling. So clever masking really does apply a accurate mask and still applies the remainder of the presets or the remainder of the adjustments to my image predicated on whatever that person's pose or a subject looks like. Incredibly powerful tool and a powerful adjustment to ACDSee in this case. So just to showcase this, I'm going to go to mask. I'm going to click subject here, and we're going to make a subject selection. Let's just turn split view off for the time being. So from here, what are we going to do here? We're going to make a tone curve adjustment. So I'm going to make a standard S curve just to increase the the contrast in my image. I'm going to not increase saturation. I'm going to increase vibrance, and I'm going to, let's say, do a clarity adjustment of my image. She's looking a little bit yellow, so maybe I'll address that here. So what we have here is, and also let's maybe reduce the overall exposure a little bit. So I have a mask that's being applied to my image here, specifically my subject. And then there's a couple changes. Firstly, I have a lowered exposure, a lowered temperature, and then I have a increased clarity, and then I have a S curve that's applied to my subject here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save a preset. And this preset is going to be of these adjustments. So here's just a before and after, just so we're aware of the changes. So the right-hand side is the after, and the left-hand side is the before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this guy right here, and I'm going to save a preset. So if I click Save Preset, this gives me the ability to save these masking adjustments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, under Selective Adjustments, click Tune Masks, which apply to what I did here. I made a tune adjustment and a mask, and I'm just going to name it. So I'm just going to do Custom Subject Exposure, say. And then I'm going to click OK. And when I do that, preset has been created. And now if I go navigate back to manage mode, and let's say I select the first 5 images in the 6 images in my my directory here. I'm going to go to batch, and I'm going to select batch develop, and I'm going to develop based on that. It was custom subject exposure. I'm going to select that preset that I just made and apply it. Take care, Philip. Again, this will be on YouTube if you're not able to participate in the rest. So I'm running a development preset that's going to apply to each of these images in my listing here based on a subject selection and curves adjustment and exposure. And when this is complete, you can see if I navigate to one in develop mode here, this subject here, you can see that this mask has been applied in such a way that is now content aware. So that is the selection that it made. So this is a dramatic improvement from that of the previous versions of ACDSee, where our subject selection was going to be, it was going to copy the original subject and then apply those adjustments to that, which means that we would lose, my person would have been in a completely different pose, and then the effects would be, applied non-uniformly to my new subject here. So hugely powerful tool. I'll just turn this off so we can see the before and after here. So that was the before, and that's the after in my image. Looks really good here. And that showcases the power of, I guess, what we're calling clever masking in this. And this is based on AI selections. What I should note is that this is not just applying to subject. This is also applying to background and sky and object selections as well. So as long as we're making an AI mask of if it was a object, if it was a flower pot, it would then, select that based on that type of selection for another image. If I was going in and I was making a sky preset, again, I could apply that sky preset to a new image as well, and have it be changed in such a way that corresponds to the actual geometry of my new image. Okay. The next one is a simple one, but I just want to showcase that under the development presets, we now have essentially default suggestions. So we have AI background suggestions, AI portrait suggestions, AI subject suggestions, and I believe AI sky as well. So if I was going to do a quick action using one of these develop presets, I could apply that using these tools right here under the develop section here. So if I go under AI portrait here, actually let's do AI subject. That makes more sense. So if I just use AI subject pop plus, if I click on this, let's run this action here. There it is. So it pops up under the history panel here. This application has been applied, and then you can see that a mask has been applied to my image here with the corresponding adjustments that are now applied to my image. So I can go in and I can use these AI default suggestions to just make quick changes to my image here. And this also corresponds nicely to, say, if I was to take an image into in a bulk action or a batch action, I can go into batch develop, and I believe that was AI subject pop plus. I can apply these to multiple images, and I don't even need to go through the process of creating a preset at all. These are pre-created and apply a series of adjustments to my, in this case, my subject. So it's going to go through and it's going to apply this to my image here. And as it does that, you can see the development icon pop up, and then that applies as well. So just to be clear, there's a ton of additions of new develop presets, default develop presets. And so I'd suggest having a look at those and playing around with them. So here's a development of this, the subject popping here. Oop. Image is still loading. And you can see the difference between these two things. And this I didn't even have to create. It was just under the develop preset window already. So AI background, AI portrait, AI sky, and AI subject are all new, and they come with their corresponding presets already created for you, and you can run these on your images. Okay, the last thing I will showcase, which is a really quick and easy tool to understand, is more of a quality of life improvement than a full tool itself. But if I navigate to the repair tool, those of you who have used repair in the past, whether it be heal clone or blended clone, will note that when we go to create a capture point, so say I wanted to clone out this particular wart on this person's face, when I click, it now creates a little clone preview where previously it didn't. So I can go in and I can remove these. Probably do a blended clone for that, but I can go in and I could remove these while still maintaining some sort of capture print. So this is different from previous versions of ACDSee, which didn't have this capture print when I went to right click and use the clone, heal, and blended clone tool. So just again, really quick quality of life improvement, not a full feature in of itself, but enough to definitely merit improvement in this tool. And something that if you're doing a lot of clone or repair functions, this is going to be something that will matter a great deal to you. Okay, we need to navigate on to talk about people mode. So people mode is going to be available. The changes that I'm going to be discussing are going to be available in all three versions of the software. So Home, Pro, and Ultimate. And these changes are really awesome. So let's talk about them now. So I'm going to navigate over to people mode. It's up at the top right-hand corner here. And people mode is where we go through the process of naming our subjects here. And in people mode, we have a series of named and unnamed images. So basically, these are all the subjects that I've already named. And then if I go to my unnamed section here, there's a ton of images with people that have been essentially have not received names yet. So some of the improvements is first and foremost group by. So this is a new feature in 2026 where we get to group by name, face count, and then suggestions. So previously there was no way to organize all these names. They were just listed alphabetically. But now we have the ability to name them in such a way that it breaks it down into various, in this case, based on the sort of the letter of the alphabet here. And then there also incorporates digits and non-Latin characters as well. So if you were organizing your images, they're going to be listed in this case by this series. So next to each particular group, in this case, a group of A includes these three individuals, and then a total number of face count, or rather, total number of images that corresponds to that person. For somebody like Bebek, for example, this has 7 images, and then it looks like there's active suggestions in this image. So if I was to navigate into Bebek, you can see that there's 3 images that it's looking to suggest in this section here. The same is the case for Cameron, and also looks like for Cassie here as well. So that's one named function. The next is face count. So this showcases individuals counted by the amount of images that are contained, in the amount of faces associated with a person in people mode. So this is grouped by. In this case, there's 17 people here with a number of faces that go from 1 to 5 faces. So this would be like people, if you have a lot of family photos, maybe this would be people that appear only a couple times in your images. Versus, in this case, I have a section that is 11 people with 6 to 25 faces. So this might represent like, I don't know, extended family or something like that. And then you have a series of images count with 26 to 100 faces, 101 to 250 faces, which might represent some actual family members that are more common in your photos. And this goes all the way up to 1,000 plus. Obviously, I don't have examples of 1,000 plus images in this particular breakdown, but as you can see, that's available there. And then finally, there's group by suggestions, and this truly just groups it by suggested photos. So in this case, we have unsuggested images. So these individuals on the bottom here are images, or rather individuals that do not have any suggested faces associated with them, and the ones up at the top that are all suggested photos. And as you can see, they have the suggested face icon that pops up. So if I was to go into Emily, for example, and click on both of these, navigate back, and she's been placed into the people without suggestions folder. If I navigate into Dee Dee and click yes, yes, no, you can see that she has then been added as well. So this is a fast way to group through and break down, in this case, go through the process of addressing any suggestions in your in people mode. If I go to group, I can group by forward or backward at any 3 of these. So this just changes the structure of the organization. And this might matter more, say, for face count, where I want to organize people with 1,000 photos first, and then people with the lowest number of face counts at the bottom here. Let's see here. There's been a massive navigation improvement in people mode as well. Let me just change that. If I select an image using people mode, I can also select a sub image. So in this section of Ash here, or maybe say, let's go into DD here. If I select one of these images, I can navigate or use this image to navigate to view mode. So that's going to pull this particular image into view mode. And then if at any point I navigate back to people mode, I'll be placed back in the same folder with the same selection or active selection. And so this is a quality of life improvement for people mode, where previously I would have to re-navigate to my subject, and now it plops me back exactly where it was. And this maybe matters more for images in people mode here under the unnamed category. So if I was to open up this particular image in edit mode, say, and then navigate back to people mode, there's a memory of exactly where I was in relation to this image. So huge improvement from just basically from a navigation perspective within the tool. The final one, which is a really cool one as well, is just the ability to actually, so previously, especially, you can see that I have a lot of duplicates in these folders. Well, I can actually go in and not just remove the face in this image, but I can actually also delete images now within people mode. And so if I'm seeing duplicates pop up, I can also delete them at any point. And this just gives me the ability to sort of cull duplicate images in my folder. And this is also so a tool. Obviously, I use a lot of similar images, and I copy images a lot to multiple folders. And as such, multiples pop up as a component of searching through my database. And so at this point, I can actually control not only the faces, but actually delete the images straight off of my hard drive from within this mode. Just a note that deleting an image, ACDSee is not like other digital asset management tools. Deleting an image truly does delete it. So it's not just, displaying my image here. It's also it's also going to be deleting it entirely from my hard drive, not just from active session of ACDSee. Yeah. So the other thing too is I can navigate to and from images in people mode using this from manage mode as well. Okay. So that covers people mode. All of the changes to people mode are ones that you can find in Home, Pro, and Ultimate. And now we can talk a little bit about manage mode. And so I want to talk about the last section here. Some of these improvements are really, really strong. So I'm excited about this as well. Sorry, I'm just going to get some water because I'm trying to run through these as quickly as possible, just to make sure I have time to answer some questions. Okay. So we just to reiterate too, we've talked about edit mode. We talked about denoise, AI denoise. We talked about that as a tool that you can use in both Pro and Ultimate. We talked about AI hair selections in edit mode. So there's a select hair function in Pro, and then there's the AI face edit tool that is a component of edit mode, or sorry, it's Ultimate. And then we also talked about splotch removal, which is available in Ultimate under the AI face edit. In develop mode, all of those tools we talked about were for Pro and Ultimate. And we talked about the split view, so the ability to change to showcase before and after actively. We talked about clever masking, so the ability to select using AI selections and then incorporate those as broader presets for multiple images. Excuse me. We talked about default development. So essentially what we're calling AI presets that we've made for professional that incorporate things like AI background, AI portrait, AI sky, and AI subject. And these you don't need to interact with. They're already created for you, and you can apply and use them as batch edits. Then we also talked about the clone preview. So just a minor quality of life improvement. In people mode, we talked about group by navigation improvements. So just being able to go into an image and then go back, and obviously people mode will hold the position or where you're editing from, and then also delete images, and people mode adjustments were available in all three softwares. Finally, in manage mode, everything I'm going to talk about is available in all three softwares as well. So manage mode, first and foremost, we've kind of changed how tabs work. So and by that, what I mean is if I navigate to tools and options, under the manage mode section here, I have some changes to the startup behavior. So previously, the only startups that were really ones that we could interact with was we could change what start folder we were interacting with. And so what that meant is when you open up ACDSee, you could change your start folder from the pictures folder to, say, a different folder on your hard drive. And that would be opened up as the main tab in ACDSee. But now we have a variety of other options. So we have these four options now. We have Open ACDSee homepage. So when you open the software, it'll open up to the homepage, which is the feature I'll be talking about next. But just so you can see it, it's this homepage right here. And then the second thing is it would open from that particular start folder, so the previous behavior. And then we now have reopen last active tab and reopen all previous tabs. So this gives me the ability to open based on particular tabs that I have active at the time that holds that information and opens it up next time I activate or interact with ACDSee. So if I click on reopen all previous tabs, and that's the startup behavior I want to save in this case, that means that when I interact with some folders here, so we'll open up my people folder, I have that open. Let's open up my landscape folder. And then let's open up, I don't know, say my food folder. So if I was to close the software temporarily here, I'll just click cancel on that and I reopen it. These tabs will be remembered in a way that is, different from previous interactions where, it opens up to a particular folder. In this case, the folder in question that you had. So food, landscape, and people are remembered, and this gives me the ability to further interact or engage with these folders. So, as it's stated here, right, one of those actions is to open up ACDSee homepage. So, I'd like to have some time to just talk quickly about what the homepage is. So, the homepage is I guess, a new defaults tab that we've applied to the top left-hand corner here of the tab section, and it'll open up by default if that's the setting that you've selected. The homepage has some really strong tools. So first and foremost, you can see that there's several options here. There's the quick search option, as well as recently modified, added, tagged, embed pending, unnamed faces, new image, import, database, find duplicates, and catalog files. And so what we took is we took a bunch of tools that we think are really, really useful and they're actively used quite often in ACDSee, and we brought them and gave them essentially a quick buttons rather than having to navigate to their particular locations in the user interface. So if I was to look up landscape, for example, you can see that straight from the quick search tool, I have a search and it's of all these landscape images that I have on my hard drive here. So the actual quick search function is is right there. So that gives you the ability to search based on whatever criteria you enter there. And then I have the ability to change the options for the search from within this section here. Currently, it's just using a quick search classic, but I have the ability to change it to, say, I'm searching for a particular letter, starts with, ends with, or contains any, all, contains words, or does not contain. So if I was looking for animal images, but I wasn't looking for bird images or something like that, I could search based on these various sort of search criteria. If I click on recently modified will open up images that I have recently edited in ACDSee. And I have the ability to interact with this based on a variety of options that are at the top right corner here. And these options showcase like the recently modified within the last month, 2 weeks, week, etc. So if I just go recently modified within the last week and click on it, you can see that all these images I've interacted with to some degree. So gives me the ability to change this within the last number of days, that sort of thing. If I interact with recently added, so if I go recently added, these are images that have been added to my, I guess, my hard drive, or I've captured recently. And this gives me the ability to look at those images. These images have been, in this case, added by me to the hard drive. If I want to say 1 day, there's no options there. I want to say 3 days. Here's a list of, and obviously these images I've added to my hard drive really recently. So that's why there's a big list there. Tagged image just searches for images that have tags. Here's a bunch of photos me. Embed pending is images that I have not yet embedded metadata to. So you can see that the embed metadata flag is listed right here under this search criteria. And so this gives me the ability to interact with that and update that at any point. Unnamed faces brings up any image that has, I guess, face data that I need to name. So these are images that are going to be very similar to what you'd see in people mode and the unnamed section here. But this gives me the ability to particularly search for these images and then open them up in view mode if I want to, change any qualities of the face editing as well. I don't need to just open them directly into people mode. I can sort of name them from view mode in this section as well. If I go back to the homepage here, I have the ability to just open up a new ACDSee image. So this is going to create a new image and open it up in edit mode. I have the ability to import based on a variety of criteria. So I can import from disk, from scanner, from device, or from CD, and then click that to go through the import process. database, I have the ability to open up and backup, optimize, or database maintenance. So I can do database maintenance from here. I have the ability to select for find duplicates. So a lot of people don't even know that this tool exists in ACDSee, but we have the ability to search for a particular folder. So in this case, I can search my pictures folder here. And if I click search, oops, it's going to take a moment to find said duplicates. And then when this process is done, this gives me the ability to say, I don't know, go through and actually delete duplicates of images. So this is a really powerful tool that a lot of people don't know that this tool exists in ACDSee, and so we've moved it into the homepage so it's easily accessible. And then finally, the ability to catalog files. So cataloging files allows me to take any existing ACDSee metadata or existing IPTC, EXIF, or metadata from Lightroom and Picasa, pardon me, and then bring it into our existing database. So this gives me the ability to pull EXIF or IPTC metadata, and even ACDSee metadata. And this is really useful if you want to reconstruct your database in the event that you have some sort of hard drive crash and you lose your database. So catalog files is a very, very strong tool as well. So the homepage gives you the ability to interact with any of these images, your images based on these sort of common functions, as well as functions that maybe are less common in the case of find duplicates or doing database maintenance. Duplicate, I think, is defined by images that have the same visuals, or like I think the same visual criteria and the same name. Good question. So the last tool that I'm going to talk about today is a tool called the Activity Manager, but specifically we're going to be talking about multi-threading and some new activities that we've added to the queued Activity Manager. So the Activity Manager is allows you to perform actions in the background, and one of those actions that we've massively improved the sort of interaction on is things like import and export. So what I'm going to do to showcase the Activity Manager in Manage mode is just I'm going to import a bunch of images. I just want to make sure before I do that too that I have these. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that these folders are empty that I'm importing to. So I'm going to import two massive external hard, or not massive, but basically I'm going to import like 100 images here. So I'm going to import from a particular disk to showcase this Activity Manager. So I'm just going to navigate to an external hard drive, and we're going to navigate to these photos here. When I import this, I'm going to just make sure that I select all these images here, and I'm going to place them into a folder that I've created for these images. When I go through the import process, that import is added to this list and is actively being completed now. The other thing I can do is I can add another folder at the same time. So I can import multiple sets at the same time now. And this was not something I could do previously. And so I can import, and both of these are running at the same time in the background. Previously, one operation had to be performed before I could start the next operation. And so now I can run both of these, and this is something that we're calling multi-threading. So this gives me the ability to run multiple activities at the same time, rather than having to, finalize one queued activity, then to go on to the next one. This is also a huge deal when it comes to, let's open this second landscape folder and refresh it, when it comes to other developments. So there's a bunch of different activities that can be added to the queued activity manager up at the top here. So it's not just importing and exporting, it's also applying presets to images. It's applying, it can convert image formats. It can resize images, and it can even go through the process of developing or going through a development process on these images. And as such, it'll add these it'll add these actions to the queued activity manager. So if I want to just select all these images, just as an example to add another activity, I can go through and I can say I want to go through the process of developing these images. and I want to develop them using, I don't know, let's say the dusk development. If I click on that, you can see that the queued activity has been applied, and it's going to go through the process. And as you can see, it's slowly developing these images. If I navigate to a different folder and I run that same process, the process apply preset dusk, you can see that both are active in the background and both are being applied to these images. And now this gives me the ability to navigate away. And if I wanted to, say create a new image, I could go through and I could create a new image and start the process of editing an image in the background while these things are running. Where is my image here? Oops. There we go. I don't know why it loaded this particular image, but I'm running an active adjustment in the background, or I could be in people mode and I could be going through the process of naming, my individuals that are, oops, let's do this grouped. I can name these individuals as I go through while the activity manager is running in the background. So it's still applying these development settings. I can also go through and say, go into a different landscape folder and say, I can also go through the process of converting a file format, and that will be added to the activity manager. I can resize these images, and that will be added to the activity manager. I can even apply really complicated advanced searches, and that will also be added to the activity manager. And then these are running in the background. So activity manager enables me to apply pretty massive development changes, or to apply file conversion while still, going through the process of actually continuing on in my workflow. So this is a really, really incredible tool when it comes to like workflow improvements in ACDSee. It gives me the ability to maintain, developments, or continue to develop my images while I'm running these things in the background. And this might be really important for people who are doing file conversion or resizing, where this is going to take up a lot of bandwidth, but in this case, it now allows you to do multiple things at the same time. Okay. That covers, wow, we're truly at the top of the hour. So, all of the manage mode improvements that I talked about. So the tab options, just being able to change from the home page to start folder to open previous tab to open all previous tabs. The home page itself, and then multi-threading using the activity manager. All three of these improvements have been applied to home, professional, and ultimate. And so people mode, that was all three products as well. That included group by, navigation improvements, and delete images. And then develop mode, things like the split view, clever masking, developing those AI presets, and the clone repair. These are applied to professional and ultimate. And then Denoise, AI hair, and splotch removal applied to a mixture of professional and ultimate where noted. That covers all of the changes to ACDSee in 2026, or all of the major changes to ACDSee 2026 in under an hour. There are more tools that I was not able to cover today, and I would just direct you to go to the product pages to learn more of maybe, say, smaller tools and improvements to the software in general, but that covers pretty much everything. Now, I can actually answer some of these questions. So I'm going to go through and see if I can answer as many as I can in the Q&A panel. There will probably be a number of questions I can't answer, starting with Rick's question. Thanks, Misty. Can the database be read on my iPhone, or asked a different way? Will we see an iOS version of ACDSee without being able to access the database from my mobile phone? There's no point in creating one. Rick, I can't really answer that. That would be like a developer question. I know that is not a consideration for this version of ACDSee. I would ask for a clarification or some information on that from the developers through the Connect page. So thanks, Marv. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Xavier, and thank you, Norman. Appreciate that. Patty McCormick asked, will the 2026 version deal more effectively with Apple Pro RAW DNG files in terms of converting them to JPEG? Currently, I think you need to run them through Adobe DNG converter and then convert those DNG files to JPEG in a separate step. I'm just going to quickly check to see what the listing was for. I think there might have been some file format improvements, but I'm not certain if those are incorporated into it. So let me just double check really quickly what I have here. So the DNGs is not listed here. So my guess is that that was not a consideration for this version of the software. Again, I would direct you to the developer section of the Connect page. And I'm sorry if that's going to be a common answer here. I'm also learning about these new tools for the first time as well. So it's not just Patty in this case that's learning about what's new in ACDC. It's also myself as a presenter as well. So I would ask about the file format on the Connect page. Ask the developers. Trevor asked, I'm curious if you can use alpha beta testers. I'd really appreciate the opportunity to help capture issues while using the latest version. I believe there is a section of ACDC that allows for not beta testers necessarily, although I think there is a focus group for that. But more that there is a section where you can there's a tool that you can add to ACDC to sort of do some development on your own. But I would also touch base with the developers because I think that there might be a forum or some area where you can interact with beta testing. I could be wrong about that, but I would just double check with the touch base with the developers there. They will be able to answer that question and direct you if there is any opportunity for external users to do beta testing. Tom, is AI Denoise found in develop mode as well? If so, does it act on the raw image during like DxO, dprime, or is this more comparable to Topaz? So the answer to your question is AI Denoise found in develop mode as well? I believe the answer to that is no. I'm just going to confirm. Yeah, Denoise is a edit only tool, so there is no AI Denoise yet in develop mode. Bruce asked, could you show narrower face labels in view mode, ensure no one is missing when using the AI face detection on group photos? Oh, I see. Yeah. Sure. So that is an improvement. I consider it more minor, so I didn't add it to this. So I didn't talk about it here, but the narrower face labels in view mode is this. Oops. So what we've done is we've improved this this functionality right here so that if you're in a position with group photos that these massive text boxes don't appear to intersect with other text boxes. So let me see if I can find you a group photo. I think I have one under people here. Let's see here. Something with multiple people in it, but close together, hopefully. Let's see here. I guess that's the best I can do for right now. Let's see if it's this will pick up both faces. Yeah, so this is a good example, actually. Oops. Where did that one go? There it is. So we've just decreased the size of this little box here when we're adding faces to our we're adding names to our faces rather. So previously this box was quite large. It would extend into our subject here and vice versa. So this was really not handy for group photos because it made naming of these individuals in view mode quite difficult. So we just improved that functionality in view mode. BD last 2025 update, people mode had many problems. It was not a simple update. Will this 2026 edition be without bugs and a simple update with instructions? I can't guarantee that the most recent version of the software is going to have no bugs. I think it's also always a development thing where bugs are going to be inevitable. But I know that the development cycle this year has been intensive when it comes to Q&Aing. So I imagine that a lot of these previous issues have been sort of updated or addressed. But again, I would direct you to a more comprehensive list on the website when the product is released for extensive bug updates. Would Clever just repeat previous presets as well? Oh yeah. So when we were talking about this, we were talking about this in the context of masking. So basically, when we're masking, we're making mask selections or subjects, whether it be like a person or a sky or a what would be a good example? Some form of object. That selection is going to be content aware in a way that in previous versions it wasn't. So in previous versions, if you were to make a selection of a subject, that subject would then be what would be represented in the preset adjustments or developments in our new image. So my example was if I was to do a make a bunch of presets on a person who is kneeling, and then my next image, that person standing, well, it's going to appear that those presets previously would have developed the image in such a way that only made like basically would apply to it would make those changes to a person kneeling. Basically, it would look like in my new image, like the changes have been made to the silhouette of my previous image. That is no longer the case. So, as long as it pertains to AI masks, whether it be masking a subject, sky, etc., all of those things are going to be content aware. So you'll never run into that issue again where you're making a preset adjustment to your image. We're batch editing images. And now suddenly we have a bunch of batch edits of people that are certainly not kneeling, but the presets are being applied to it in that certain way. So it's now content aware in a way that it wasn't previously. BDLS, I missed the first 4 minutes. Can you sum up again what the new changes are? I think we did that several times over the course of the workshop, so I think we're good on that. But we've also will be uploading this to YouTube. CB said the new release of Nikon 75i RAW files are not recognized by ACDSee Photo Studio. Will ACDSee Photo Studio Ultimate 2026 address this? Uncertain. Again, there's going to be a list of RAW cameras that are going to be added, and that list will be updated on the website upon release of the new software. So I would direct you to list of supported camera models on the website for a more comprehensive list if that photo or that camera was incorporated. I know that RAW files are typically, or sorry, RAW formats rather, are typically incorporated not in a linear sense. If a camera was just released, it's more unlikely that it's going to be incorporated in this version of the product. It might be in a half-year update or something like that. It'd be incorporated. So BDL asked, how would you transfer phone photos to computer? Is that an import action? I would use the ACDSee mobile app to do that. Although you could plug in your photo and use an import from, it would be from disk as well. But yeah, you certainly can. But I would just use the app. Yeah, it's on our website. Very useful app. I use it all the time. Martin asked, can you manually decrease the effect of an AI preset as if it seems more than you want? Okay, that's a really good question. So Martin, I hope you're still in the workshop here. How do I describe this? Can you manually decrease the effect of an AI preset? So in edit mode in Ultimate, if I was to make or you want specifically in develop mode. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so let's open up this in develop mode. And let's see what our options are. So we have a AI preset here. So let's say, so we're going to go with the AI subject and we're going to make AI subject pop. So this preset has been applied. You can see it applied here. In develop mode, if I open up this masking tool and I was to adjust something like, in this case, what was actually adjusted in this image? It looks like the vibrance and saturation were improved and the contrast clarity were improved as well. So I have this active development. I can go in and then say, let's lower vibrance, let's lower saturation, and we'll lower exposure here. So my point is that even though that I have an active development preset, it still means that I can go in and adjust it. Like develop mode even though that preset has been applied, is constantly non-destructively adjustable. So I can go in and I can edit the preset that I've made. So AI subject, AI sky, AI portrait, AI background. If I go in and I use one of these AI presets, you can bet that these effects are editable in the future. So the answer to your question is yes, you can manually decrease the effect of an AI preset. Okay, one of those questions was, do you support JXL file format? Yes, that was incorporated into the new software. We now support JXL. Martin asked, where can we see the system requirements? Are they significantly increased with the advent of AI tools? I don't think they're increased that much more from the 2025 release, if that at all. You can find this under the particular product pages on the website. There will be a system requirements at the very bottom of any product page. So if you go to AI Ultimate 2026, you scroll down to the bottom, that will be available there. Great question. Okay, how many more questions we got? We got a couple more questions here, and then we'll almost through. Can hair select work on wildlife images? I prefer feathers. Doubtful. I would go with doubtful. I would go with probably an object selection and adjust, maybe remove the face or something like that for that sort of thing. Really, AI hair select is intended for human subjects, not non-human subjects. Can the hair selection be used on fur and feathers? Okay, we just answered that. I'm 90% sure it's a no for that. Alex Randall asked, is there any improvements to folders pane? I drag it to a second screen and I wish I had columns of folders instead of one list. Oh, that's not incorporated into this version of the software, but I would recommend that if you go to our Connect page, you can always ask for a feature request in this section here, but it wasn't one that I was aware of for 2026. Roger asked, is AI Denoise on or off, or can it be scaled in its aggressive its intensity? Good question. So AI Denoise is an edit tool, and as I mentioned previously, if I open up, it really depends on your workflow. But if I go to, let's go to noise, my noise folder. So here's my noise test image. If I open up the tool in edit mode in Ultimate, I can go to denoise and I have the ability to reduce the strength, right? So I can lower this strength on my image to adjust the total effect. The other thing is I can have a maximum strength, but I can also brush on where I want it, which is the background here, say. Inversely, so that would be in Pro, that would be in Ultimate. In Pro, I could go into the noise tool, and much similarly, there's a strength slider, and also there is a brush tool as well. So that would be available in Professional. So I can adjust that, adjust the intensity. In using the layer panel, what I would suggest is denoise is a destructive change, so I always recommend duplicating and then applying a denoise adjustment to the duplication. And then from there, if I wanted to, I could mask my subject to remove or to add more of that noise back, or I could reduce the opacity on my image to bring back a little bit of noise. So lots of options for to scale the intensity and to sort of address that from an adjustability perspective. Great question, Roger. Is the old splash screen gone? The one that had the explanations and guides around the various options? No, it's not gone. It's still there. It's just it's currently still being completed prior to the release of the software. So it just doesn't pop up in this version when I downloaded this version and presented it to you. Dave asked, would ACDSee Sharpen tool be in the same as Enhance Focus tool? Would Sharpen be is the same as an Enhanced Focus tool? Not necessarily. Sharpen typically it typically increases contrast in pixels. I'm not sure what Enhanced Focus tool does, but I would argue that there would probably be different functions. Misty asked, I thought that I saw something about an under the hood improvement that was easier on CPU, GPU stress load use. Is that so? Please, if you know. Let me check quickly. I think that would be maybe related to the activity manager. I think that that is something that is handled by the GPU. Um, but I'm afraid I don't have that at hand right in this moment. I would probably direct you to the release notes for that. I'm sorry that I don't have the answer to that with me at hand right now. Uh, Antoine asked, "Whom can I contact if I have technical questions and problems?" A couple things. If you have a like low intensity issue, you can always contact the developers through the Connect page right here. Also, if you have a more intense question and you want to have it resolved really quickly, I would recommend calling our support hotline in regards to that, which you can find on our website. Is there a new version of ACDSee for Mac also foreseen? So Mac is typically released. We typically release a new Mac software every year. This is obviously our PC product. This isn't our Mac product. There will be content and updates for Mac this year as well. You can expect those. It's just not what we're talking about today. Can user change the new start screen you have demoed? Oh yeah. So the home page, this start screen that I was talking about, it's currently not adjustable in the sense that these tabs that I have here, these little icons, are not ones that can be changed. But I know that there is explicit interest from the developers to do that in the future, to update these guys right here. It's just not something that is going to be available for this version of the software. This was just introduced, and so we wanted to incorporate some icons that are going to be that are going to see a lot of use. Thank you, Peter. Roger, is split screen preview available in develop and edit modes? Just develop mode. The Guild. It's a really good set of editions. When or will we see the full version of Mac? Oh, we talked about that as well. Mac, yeah, it's not the part of this release cycle, but it will be later this year. And no improvements on AI keywords. Thank you everybody for your questions. I think I have to call it quits. It's over almost an hour and a half over here. There was obviously a ton of comments here. If you have any more questions, you can direct them to my Connect. You can reach out to me on Connect. So you can do that through the workshop pane itself. If you go to workshops and you click on a past workshop, if you click on it, my name will be here, and you can navigate to that and chat with me, do a personal message there. Thank you all for participating in this. I'd be curious to see how many. Yeah, we still have a ton of people participating in the presentation, even after all these questions. Thank you for also waiting for me to answer these questions. I just wanted to get through all the features first because it's kind of what I promised to do in the workshop before I answered any more particular questions. I hope you're excited about the new software. I think there's a ton of like really, really powerful improvements to ACDSee 26 that are definitely going to be worth your time. I personally, like I said, I'm most excited about the selection presets. Just being able to select a subject and then utilize that selection for future presets in a batch activity. That is an incredible change. And then other than that too, I think even just some the multi-threading in the activity manager, being able to ultimately do multiple things through your workflow at the same time, huge adjustment. So lots of things to be excited about, and personally I can anticipate using a bunch of these. So